If you look at any relationship, it always comes down to one person who is more anxious and the other person who is more avoidant. Now, sometimes you can easily be both anxious and avoidant within yourself, and depending on the person that you match with or the situation, you might find yourself being more avoidant versus anxious. That can switch, and they call this disorganized attachment. Regardless of what the attachment style is, changing this deeply rooted attachment style to become more secure is literally the hardest thing that anyone can change in a lifetime. Because as a child, from 0 to 7 especially, when you're being raised by your parents, you are seeing your parents as God. Why? Because you are completely helpless. As a child, you will die if you are not cared for and protected by your parents. They feed you, they shelter you, they give you all your core needs to live. And if you do not get those needs from your parents, you will be abandoned, you will be alone, neglected, and quite frankly, you will die out there in the wild if no one else takes care of you, right? Every child unconsciously knows this. And so they treat parents like God. Their word is God. How they behave is God. Everything they do is like, that is what I have to absorb. That's what I need to model. That's what I need to believe about myself. How they are treating me is what I need to accept. How they are treating each other, that's the way relationships should look like. The way they communicate to each other. They fight, they criticize each other. One shuts down, one is critical and constantly being emotionally intense, yelling, the screaming, all that stuff. We absorb that as a child, and no matter how traumatizing and fearful or painful that is, a part of us unconsciously says that that is what relationships should look like. That is how I should learn to love myself. That is how I should learn how to relate to other people. All of that gets absorbed into you. And then what happens is that as you progress in your development and as you grow up, even all the way throughout all of adulthood, you simply repeat that pattern again and again. You find friends and coworkers and especially lovers that mimic all these different traits of your parents or your family ecosystem. And you repeat that over and over because that is what you absorbed as your framework of the world of how love and relationships and communication and all of that should look like to survive and just be in existence in this world. So in the journey of becoming secure and learning to be healthy, you have to risk shattering the entire world, which is all you've ever known. And it's going to feel like learning a different language. And it's going to be scary as hell. It's as if you've been learning English your entire life and now you're forced to learn Chinese. But it's not just learning something new that's so foreign. You have to confront all the fears and all the pain that has kept those feelings and beliefs deep inside you. And as hardwired as this feels, and it is very difficult to change, there's no question about it, it actually can change. And the degree in which you change this is going to be matched by the amount of suffering that you're no longer willing to put up with anymore. At some point, you're going to have to find that at some point, you're going to hit rock bottom. You're going to be tired of doing that constant anxious behavior, constantly fearful of abandonment, being alone, feeling unseen and unheard. You're going to be tired and fed up with constantly being in this hamster wheel of fear of conflict, fear of intimacy, constantly losing deep emotional loving connections because you're so scared to be vulnerable, so scared to lose your freedom. At some point there's a breaking point where you are fed up with so much suffering that you'll do anything to change. And this is the very moment that people have to get to before they start doing the kind of work that I guide clients through, which is the deep emotional trauma work of reprocessing, healing, and working through those really old childhood pains. Again, those pains are the pain of being not enough, the pain of feeling shamed, pain of feeling unheard, alone, unseen, and so on. All the core childhood wounds that are out there, those are the very wounds that you've been running away from, but those are now the same wounds that you have to confront and face in this healing journey. And no, it's not going to be enough to understand what your trauma is, where it came from, and that's a key first step, but you're going to have to learn to drop into the body, reconnecting to the nervous system where you originally felt all this pain before, right? That pain of abandonment, the pain of losing your freedom, the pain of not being good enough, the pain of the shame, and so on. All those ones I mentioned. Right? You have to learn to reconnect them in the body, training your body and nervous system to feel through and to release one layer at a time, all of that conditioning, all of that trauma, and all of those beliefs as well. But the good news is that you can actually work through it and heal through it. It just takes a lot of hard work and a lot of courage, but it can be done. If you want to learn more about the healing journey, definitely read my description in this video and learn more.